Greetings and welcome back for part 3 of this geriatric old fart. I want to thank all the new subscribers and those who keep coming back to watch the train wreck over and over again. It's been a fun day arguing with theists all across the internet, mostly about Noah's flood and their ignorant, brainwashed, biased dogmatic positions that they hold. Now for part 3. The man who insults Darth gives him an apology, and of course Darth is still a shitbag about it. The only comment I really have about this video is the man's background stating that atheism is just an opinion. Well, so is theism, and that's why there's well over 40,000 versions of Christianity. Now don't forget your face palm protection, and enjoy. We'll see you for the next one.
Thank you for proving my point.
They all do the same thing, man.
Look, they're just like dope smoking, teenagers.
Are there any atheists up here that aren't going to act like a 5-year-old that just learned his first curse word after having 5 cubes of sugar and his parents won't give him candy? I mean, come on, guys. Are you adults? Yeah, like, seriously, what you said? I say this all the time, just like you, Darth. They are not working with all their tools in their box.
Yeah.
And they're not just a tool short. They're a few tools short. They might only have a few tools in the box. They got an entire Black & Decker toolbox that'll fit a 500 piece, and they got a single wrench in it. I don't want to talk to you. You're just a effing
You're just a horrible person.
People try to give credit to like the babe in Christ who's like so focused on the Beatitudes. They have like a year in the faith and how they handle atheists like that. And then like troll on the people that are just like totally not having that and kicking the dust off their feet. It's like, you guys do realize that after even just like a year or two of serious apologetics and talking to atheists, like you're going through thousands of these trolls. Thousands and thousands and thousands. You try not getting fed up with all of these people that are just like,
exactly.
It's like we're literally fighting demons in the spiritual realm. And you guys are like,
over and over again too. It's the same thing over different trolls. Same argument every time, and they wonder why we get
I wouldn't give credit where credit isn't due. It's the same slogans. They're not really giving a cogent argument at all. There is no argument there. Okay?
They just say no.
Cliches and slogans.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, Daryl, we generally troll atheists because a lot of atheists that come up here are trolls. But if you actually are wanting to come up here and have a conversation with us in good conscience, where we both respect each other, there's a very good reason to come up. Yes, we will treat you with respect. We'll treat you with love and kindness. If you come up and troll, we're just going to kick you down and block you.
So what's funny is Dundadorf has been muted in the chat, so now his only response is to be able to accept a guest request and go down and accept the request. He has no mute tongue in the situation.
Why would you come up on the stage knowing full well that I'm going to be talking?
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
You don't have to be an atheist, Daryl. We talk to atheists, we talk to agnostics, we talk to Jews, we talk to Muslims, we talk to everybody.
This is anecdotal.
So let's start this over. Darth, I do apologize. But the reason I snapped is because you want to be nice yet condescending at the same time by saying, are you going to have something intelligent to say? Or are you just going to be a crybaby?
That's do you think that's a personal attack to you, Dundee?
Let's have a conversation here.
If you want to have a conversation, you have a conversation.
Dundee, I'm going to have to kick you.
Dundee, we had about 15 to 20 atheists come up a day and just go.
I don't care what other atheists.
So we asked that.
If you don't,
we asked that to see.
So just because of the acts of some, you judge all.
Dundee, let's see if you're an extraordinarily rare, thoughtful skeptic.
Answer my question first. Answer my question.
Dundee, if you interrupt me while I'm talking one more time.
You like to interrupt people while they're talking,
goodbye,
so it doesn't
Dundee.
fucking matter.
Goodbye.
Answer my question, Darth.
Goodbye.
Calm down.
You know what?
Manifest on mute.
Grow up, bro.
Do you know?
Too many sugar cubes. Take away the sugar
All right,
cubes.
let me tell you something. This is a something that was recently discovered. They did MRI scans of the brains of atheists, and what they found out that the frontal lobe has a striking resemblance to anuses. Welcome, Tweet. Do you accept God as your creator?
Absolutely.
What would you like to say, Tweet?
I would just like to say that I agree with everything that you have on the screen. Atheism, yeah, I just don't really get the thought of atheism, you know, and I just want to.
It is atheism is
Because atheism is not a thought.
Atheism is a mental disorder.
It's a
Sorry, Doug.
mental aberration. Okay.
I agree totally.
It's a
Even
lack
if
of
you
thought.
have- listen, even if you have a high IQ or even multiple PhDs, I have actually dialogue with atheists with PhDs, a good number of them, and every single one of them, in spite of their intelligence and their academic achievement, which I will not besmirch, every single one of them are utterly deceptive and evasive when challenged by somebody who's competent. Okay? So this is a sign of mental aberration. Because the Romans 1 says, ever since the beginning of the creation of the world, God's eternal powers, his divine nature, have been clearly seen in everything that has been made, and they are without a defense. What that means is there's nothing that they can invoke or say as a defeater or a negator for the existence of God. So therefore, whatever does come out of their mouth is a complete figment of their imagination, and they cannot in any way justify it. Okay?
And they're without excuse for saying it.
Yeah.
Hey, Alan.
I prefer to qualify as that saying that the word no excuse means they are without, the word is apologia, which means to make a legal defense. They're without a defense.
Right. They're with no
Alan,
defense.
make sure you block some of these accounts. Don't just mute them. You hear me?
Randy, you've spent sorry.
Hello.
Well, Harry, why don't you come up and tell us how we're cherry picking? Come on up, Harry.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Tab. Sorry, what were you saying?
Whenever these accounts come up and start talking about dots, just block them.
Just flat out. Okay. Yeah, I'll just flat out block them. No problem.
Randy, we're still waiting for you to come up. You sound really intelligent, man. Come educate us, cavemen.
So, Harry, how are we Christians cherry picking?
Because you only use the verses that serve your purpose. You don't mention the verses about slavery. You don't mention the verses about God killing the whole world.
Harry, what is the Hebrew word for slave?
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
Harry, have you read any scholarly works on the issue of slavery in the Old Testament?
Why would I read scholarly?
Exactly.
Harry, I have read.
I don't believe.
I'm telling you what your book says, but why would I read your book to see what it
Please
says?
don't interrupt.
Yeah,
Finish.
Sorry about that.
Please stop interrupting. Okay. So Harry,
Yes, sir.
the word slave used in the Bible is unique for the most part to the 20th century English translations. The King James Bible never once translated the word eved, which is a word meaning a servant of any kind. It never translated as slave. What you are doing is you are reacting to the particular English translation without investigating what the word slave actually refers to.
Okay, well, what did
When
it
you
mean
go,
when they
I'm
had
not
to give away
done
their
yet,
daughters?
Harry. I'm not done.
Sorry.
You're
Go
going to get
ahead.
an education today. Okay. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Who has noise in the background? So Harry, I recommend that you either get Peter J. Williams' scholarly paper on slavery in the Old Testament, or you can watch his YouTube lecture on slavery in the Bible. The word slave, translated in the 20th century translation in the Hebrew, means a servant. Now, if you were well studied in the Mosaic Law, you would know that God prohibited kidnapping and manstealing, and it's punishable by death. Number two, God commanded all of the Israelites to love their neighbors as themselves, which would prohibit kidnapping and forced servitude. Number three, it says that you are not to oppress your fellow Israelite or any foreigners in the way that you were oppressed in Egypt, which means kidnapping and forced servitude. Okay? Number four, there's also a law in the Mosaic Law that if somebody is acting in service to another and they were to flee for any reason, that they are required by Mosaic law not to be forcibly returned. Okay? So the word slave in the 20th century translation is simply talking about people who are servants, okay? Unless you can clearly show from the context that this is some type of forced captivity and forced servitude, but only if the context supports it. Okay?
Hey, Darth, what's
think you're making my
the
point
what's the
for
author
me.
on that paper you just said?
Peter J. Williams.
I'm pretty
thank
sure
you.
you just
I'm
made my
looking it up.
point for me. Because
Are you this
cherry-pick
stupid, Harry?
the verses that
Harry, I
Gary, you're
didn't
missing some
cherry
tools.
pick. Okay, bye, Harry. Bye, Harry.
Okay.
Yeah, you're missing
When
some
you
tools from the tool
you're
shed.
when you're this stupid, I get rid of you from the stage. Okay.
I think
People
Harry's been
that
drinking.
were poor and could not maintain themselves would
That's
literally,
Hold on.
That's indentured servitude.
yeah,
Okay. Now,
they would
notice
indenture
again,
themselves to other people as a
you
means
know
of
what's
survival.
shocking? I'm just shocked at how many stupid people we run into. I mean, really stupid people. When we
You have
explain
someone
to
that
them,
works for you. You can't treat them like a
Hey,
slave. You have to treat them like a human. What?
Finished. I'm just gonna ask you to be real careful when people are talking, not interrupt them. Okay.
Sorry, man.
the bottom line is this: when you explain the actual biblical position going down into the Hebrew, they don't care. Okay. The word slave or slavery itself has to be understood culturally, sociologically, and contextually. In the Bible, the English word slave, translated from Eved, means a servant. If you're going to say that any particular use of the word within any given context means forced captivity and forced servitude, you're going to have to show it. You can't simply have a knee-jerk reaction with atheists do and saying, it says slave! You know? And when I explain this to the guy, everything I said, which comes from scholarship, he completely ignored it as though I was picking my nose and scratching my earlobe, and then just goes, well, you're still cherry picking.
And then he says you made his point. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Is this hour and like 39-minute lecture? That's the one that you're talking about?
Yeah.
It's Peter Williams that says, does the Bible support slavery? Lanier Theological Library.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for that, man. Appreciate it.
I'm a huge fan of Peter Williams. Peter J. Williams. There's another Peter Williams who's a philosopher.
That actually might be the one that I'm looking at right now.
No. If it's on slavery, then it's the philosopher. The philosopher Peter Williams that didn't do a lecture on slavery. Peter J. Williams did it on slavery.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I got it. Peter J. Williams on slavery, the Old Testament.
He's also
Gospels.
written a scholarly paper on that, which you can look up, but it's a bit of heavy reading.
Yeah, I'm seeing that on C.S. Lewis Institute. I have a link for it.
Yeah, so you'll notice.
I'm looking into all this. Thank you, bro, for the.
During the Civil War, those in the South did not make an appeal to the Bible in terms of the so-called slavery verses, because the 20th century hadn't arrived. It wasn't translated as slave. It was translated as servant. They argued from the so-called curse of Ham to justify slavery, not by the verses in the Mosaic Law. Okay?
Yep.
Look, this is what they do. It's this drive-by exegesis, which is actually eisegesis, because it says slave. Yeah, and what's the Hebrew word for that? And they have no idea.
And he exposes himself like most of them do. You really press them to go past surface level on an argument they're making, and you realize that it's just some repackaged argument from somebody else, and they really don't even know the counter arguments.
You can own them and pass them on. Yeah, you can own contractual obligation for servitude, and if you have a contractual obligation and you die, the remainder of the contractual obligation can be passed on to your children. This is business language. It's not talking about antebellum slavery. They don't care about this stuff. This is what's so nauseating about these people.
And they tell you too. His response to it was, why would I read that? It's like, to understand what you're talking about, like anything else that you read, like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
It's depressing, man. At least study something before you go talk about it online.
I've been debating with atheists for 14 years, and I can't even count on one hand the amount of interactions that I've had with intelligent skeptics. They're either not intelligent or incredibly deceitful and evasive. These are not honest people.
I've only found two.
Yeah.
I've only been walking for about 4 years, but I've only found two.
Yeah, well, I've been doing this for 14 years. These are not honest people.
Yep, they suppress the truth and unrighteousness, man. They don't want God to be true because they know what it means.
Imagining being so stupid and simply reacting because the English word is slave. Slave means slave, without actually looking up what the Hebrew word is.
Yeah. Same people argue textual corruption.
I've had people come to me and says, the Bible says, thou shalt not kill, but then God orders killing in other parts of the Bible. Yeah, and if you look that up, you're quoting the King James. The underlying word is more accurately rendered schmurder. But exactly. When the King James says, thou shalt not kill, what that is referring to contextually is not an absolute prohibition of never unaliving. It's referring to indiscriminate and unjustified unaliving. Okay? But do they care about context? No, they don't. I have never come across more irresponsible, lack of educated, lack of intelligence, lack of character, and being uncivilized people. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, they contend with Muslims, which is hard to do.
All right, guys, I'm going to take a break.
God bless you, man.
Hey, Randy, your early accounts of Yahweh being a god of the Canaanites only proves that the Hebrews fell into paganism as stated in the actual Bible. Like, what are you doing, man? You're helping us out. You're just showing your education, your lack of education. Yeah, there was paganism around the time of Abraham, and he was called to be set apart. We all know this. That's literally what his father ran a store that sold idols out of wood and stone. But you know what? Yahweh proved who he was in the resurrection. With the resurrection, the word became flesh. The logos was solidified. It was all proven true. Every word of it. People only had hope and faith, knowing that it was going to happen, and then it happened. That's why the people that didn't believe but read the scripture believed, because it was happening right in front of them. And that's why they were willing to get unalived in large quantities without any sense of like not wanting to, like without reservation. They were getting
God
unalived.
of the universe sees a bunch of demons running around telling pagans about a false god using his name, and he's like, oh, I'm going to change my name. Those demons are using my name. I don't want them to worship demons.
Yeah.
The arguments that people make are just dumb. Like, they're really
Look at
dumb.
this. Trust me, bro. He was resurrected. We had nobody.
Randy, come up. Come up or be quiet.
Yeah. Come up
or be quiet.
Yeah. Last warning, dude. Come up or be muted,
you
man.
might as well just get muted. See if you stay.
Let's just mute him.
Every single
Here I go.
every single live that I go into where people make me a mod and people come up like that and they're just like constant for like 10 minutes, I just give them like a 2-minute mute. And if they're still there, I give them a 5-minute mute if they start doing it again. And then they just leave. It just proves that they don't really care. They don't really want to be here. They're just passing time and just trying to troll in the comments.
Yeah, clogging up the chat.
Demons work in a lot of different ways, man. Through a lot of different people, bro.
Sarah, Sarah, come up. I don't know what you mean.
Probably caught what Darth was saying about atheists because of the last batch that we have. She probably thinks that it was being applied to her. Maybe she was talking to someone in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I caught that too. I don't know what she was talking about.
Well, if the shoe fits.
I wasn't talking about her. I don't think anybody up here was talking about her. If she's an atheist, though, she'll feel like we were talking about her when we were talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it does apply. It just applies to the spirit of atheism. It doesn't matter who says it. It's just a spirit.
More than welcome to come up, Sarah, and talk. We don't bite. If you do, we just kick it. More than happy to have a pleasant conversation.
And Cam, I don't know, Camden. I'm not sure what you mean by the worst and easiest to disprove. Nobody has disproved Christianity. Not even people at the time have said the body is here. None of this happened. It was all made up.
What does he even mean by that?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they have no foundation of truth.
I don't understand why people would rather like put vague, ambiguous comments in the chat than just come up and like be able to speak freely.